You're watching a B.A.S.S. presentation.
Let's take you down to South Carolina right now for Lake Murray, South Carolina. The Minn Kota Bassmaster Elite set to take off this morning, Thursday morning, for the first of 4 days of fishing. That has been postponed until tomorrow. Day one will actually be Friday. Beautiful shot right there of Lake Murray. That is about 50,000 acres there on the Saluda River. And again, the Minn Kota Bassmaster Elite is going to be the 5th tournament of the year for the Bassmaster Elite Series. Things are progressing on very, very quickly. But that's what it looks like this morning. There's just been plenty of weather. I mean, if you take a line from Dallas, Texas, follow I-20 all the way through Shreveport, Jackson, Birmingham, Atlanta, and right to Columbia, South Carolina, that is the midline of this storm system that is actually wreaking havoc on the southeastern United States. We'll take a look at that weather map for you. Big bass, big stage, big dreams, and big weather going on. And there is, right in the line of fire, there is Columbia, South Carolina. A little bit later this morning, it's going to get kind of rough there.
No doubt about it, Tommy Sanders. I went full-blown Reed Timmer to get to studio this week, but little lull in the action right now, but it is going to blow up in a big way, what it sounds like later today.
Yeah, Ronnie Moore, Mark Zona, Tommy Sanders here with you, your Bassmaster Live bunch here, just to kind of say hello and update you on what's going on right now. So they have postponed the entire day. Once again, we will start tomorrow and go on to a championship Monday, similar to the schedule we were on for the Harris chain. Had a similar chain of events right there. So we're looking forward to this one. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they caught them all up and down Lake Murray the last time we were here. It's the first time we'd been in a good long while.
Yes, definitely. And really, if you kind of look at what's transpired, not having today, a lot of the anglers, probably a lot of the anglers that are watching this, with the window of the shad spawn, the window of the herring spawn, it's a small window, unless you have some cloud cover, which we obviously were going to have today. So this will throw a wrench into that. I know a lot of the anglers in our field were banking on that cloud cover to prolong that shad spawn, the herring spawn. Not the case. So there will definitely have to be some adjustments going into day number one tomorrow. With that being said, I really think, and I thought about this coming in to do this little short deal, was I think the 3 X factors in this tournament right now. Is there an angler that can prolong that bite? We were able to see anglers do that the last time we were here to make it go more than 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Will somebody find that offshore gig, that traditional forward-facing sonar like we saw Koya Fujita do the last time we were here? Or will somebody exploit the river, which virtually was not a player the last time we were here? So I think those 3 things are the things that we will be looking to into day number one.
Yeah, Ronnie Moore. It was a memorable tournament last time around. We're later.
It was,
here,
yeah. It seemed like we had a lot of things going on there. We had the spawn for the bass spawn still going on. You had shad spawn, a little bit of the herring spawn, obviously, as well. It seems like we have a little bit of that going on as well, but it's the tail end of it. It's fading bites, and so there's going to be a lot of topsy-turvy leaderboards, a lot of uncertainty for anglers. But Tommy, I'll say the one thing that this does do, it gives Lake Murray a rest day. Probably no one fishing on Lake Murray for the first day in the last 3 months with today's weather, so maybe some things rested. This place has gotten a lot of pressure, kind of like lakes like Guntersville have recently. Lake Murray's been a hot lake. A little bit of rest, a lot of bug bite, and we'll talk about the cicada thing that's going on as well at Lake Murray.
We're going to talk about that. We will get to see some incredible pictures of that. Why don't we take ourselves back to the start of the year, kind of set the stage for everything that's about to happen at this 5th stop of the year. Take you back to Toledo Bend Reservoir. First time in a while the Bassmaster Elite Series has been there in that southwest corner of the lake. Mark Zona played big like it does every time.
You know what's interesting about the southwest corner, the housing area that we've covered in years past? It's eerily similar, it's going to sound crazy, to when the anglers are able to run to Lake Ontario. You know it is going to be dominated. It's an area of the lake you just need to put time into. Koya Fujita really dominating this event, over 100 pounds and 13 ounces. Pretty much one bullet in his gun, a jig head minnow. And what was interesting was leaving that house and area on the final day of that tournament and actually having some backup fish to culminate into that giant stringer. Big blowout tournament for Koya Fujita.
Well, that was a memorable one. Great start to our season, starting in Texas for the first time in a long time with backers. We went to Lake Fork, and it was all about this young man, Trey McKinney, down there. What a performance.
Well, good for you, young man, getting it done on Lake Fork in a big way. And interestingly enough, in a very popular area of Lake Fork, getting it done with a jerk bait. Saw some shallow fish, but every single day able to relocate these schools in a relatively small area.
Yeah, Trey McKinney, we saw him kind of transpire throughout the event, different baits. We saw him obviously starting much deeper on day one of that tournament, jerk bait, obviously a jig head minnow as well. But as we saw that tournament go on, Tommy, and it got a little warmer from that dip in the weather day one or so, we saw him obviously go to the docks, go to shallower timber, and utilize a jig, wacky worm as well.
Everything came together for him. I mean, when you catch one, your rod falls apart, you still bring in a giant. You know things are going great, 130 pounds plus. That takes us down to Florida. We pick it up a little later in the season at the third event, the Harris Chain of Lakes, and another rookie, John Garrett, showing up.
Exactly right. And of all the years that we have covered, Tommy, there is obviously something going on with the crop of rookies on the Bassmaster Elite Series. To where it's fair to say that several will be a big player in this tournament as well. John Garrett looking for his first victory in the Bassmaster Elite Series. Very, very powerful. The Bassmaster Opens, I know you covered him for years, Ron Moore.
Yeah, we've seen John Garrett go through plenty of adversity in the College Series, the Opens, being so close to winning or qualifying for the Elite Series. But Tommy, he said he used a lot of Tennessee River technology there, some side imaging, 360, able to understand what the difference was in tilapia and in bass, and he was able to make that work out for him well at Harris.
Had a great plan, stuck to it, and really paid off for him. Another great plan by this man, Corey Johnson, in Salt Springs.
Yep. Exactly, Salt Springs. And the amazing thing, what Corey experienced was really on day number one, going into Salt Springs and only seeing, wait for it, 3 other boats in an area of the St. Johns River where generally 20% or more of our field is fishing. A lot of bedding bass, a lot of cruising bass. Corey Johnston making the comment. He thought this area was burned down after day number one, reloaded all 3 days, and then day number 4, making the call to fish main river pads and pretty much blowing this tournament away.
Margin of victory of 21 pounds and 12 ounces, second of all time, Ronnie.
Second largest of all time. Patrick Walters at Fork in 2020 with 29 pounds was the biggest margin of victory. 17 pounds was Caleb Kufal second. Corey Johnson falls right in between them, 21 pounds and change. 90 plus pounds, 93 pounds to win the event.
Great swing through Florida for Corey Johnson, becomes the 3rd Canadian to win a Bassmaster Elite Series event. Puts himself in good shape as he usually is, year in, year out, in Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year standings. Very, very important race. As we run through the year, let's take a look at how it stands after 4 events. And Trey McKinney right on top there, but very familiar name, Jordan Lee, closing down pretty quickly there.
Yeah, exactly right. Jordan Lee has just been quiet and steady the whole tournament. The run that we're going to go on after this event in Lake Murray when we head to Alabama, obviously Jordan Lee with a lot of history there and a lot of history of doing well up north. So look for Jordan Lee, the Johnston brothers, with a lot of experience on the bodies of water that we are heading to next.
Jacob Fouts, a good trip down to Florida for him. And of course, Justin Hamner, a great tournament there at Fork as well with an 11-pounder. So we got a great race going on, Elite Series Angler of the Year, and Jordan Lee, to no one's surprise, becoming a big name in that. We'll have our eyes on him this week as well.
Absolutely, and really looking at what Jordan Lee's done, just really quiet and steady so far on the Elite Series. And as we've said, a lot of history, the lakes that we're heading to in Alabama next.
All right. All right, we're going to go back down to another lake and talk about another trail that's going on, the Opens EQ. That is your pathway, your qualifying route to make it to the Bassmaster Elite Series. And they started out down in Florida at Lake Okeechobee, and the first of some local winners in the Opens, which is usually the case.
It has trended that way every single Open that we've had, but starting out the year at Okeechobee, we know what Florida's capable of, especially South Florida early in the season. For Scott Martin, not only setting the all-time single-day weight record for an Open on day one with 33 plus pounds, he followed it up with 3 fantastic days, Tommy. The biggest 3-day weight in Opens history. Huge margin of victory, 21-pound victory in 3 days as well. And then we go to an opposite body of water, Tommy, one that's right down the road from us. But February in Florida is a lot different than February in Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's very cold. But Jeremiah Kendi, another local, utilized a lipless crankbait and really a lot of local knowledge to pace his week.
Not only a local, but a well-traveled professional angler, to be sure, Jeremiah Kendi.
Jeremiah Kendi is going to be your champion.
So he punched his ticket to the Bassmaster Classic. We go to Santee Cooper and yet another local, Kyle Austin. He's in it, though. I mean, he's looking to make it.
He'd been one who'd been knocking on the door, Tommy. He weighed in 4 bass on the final day of the season last year and missed out on the Elite Series by just 20 points. So the opportunity was there for him to qualify for the Elites. He got back in the Opens this year, sees Santee Cooper on the schedule, and for many guys, they would love to fish one at your home lake. But for many anglers, it's hard to win at home. We've seen some guys really channel local knowledge and be able to battle it well. Kyle Austin did that at Santee Cooper, utilized a spot that he has known forever to really get 3 to 5 good ones. And on that final day, he had 4 good ones and was able to go fish a key rotation of trees to get it done. And we thought maybe a little bit different, Tommy, but another local tournament or another local angler to the state of Alabama at Logan Martin Lake, Josh Butler, getting it done. And he is a name who fished professionally last year on another tour, came to the Opens, wanted to make the Classic. He is now going to the Classic, and with the win, moved into the top 9. He is inside our EQ points race to qualify as well.
Yeah, Josh Butler doing very well this season. Of course, some other familiar names right behind him. Tucker Smith, great scholastic career, bass fishing. Kyoyo Fujita, Emil Wagner as well.
How about Tucker Smith? 4 opportunities at Classic berths. He's gotten 2 seconds in the Opens and 2 seconds in the College Classic bracket. Been so close. It's going to be his time at some point. But looking at the points race, Tommy, the Tackle Warehouse EQ points race, Evan Kung had about a 15-point lead and extended it after a good showing at Logan Martin as well, keeping his good fortunes going.
Yeah, think about those fields and think of Evan Kung with a 17th, 2 9th places, and a 22nd. Wow. That is getting it done out there.
When you look at the top 10 there, Tommy, Easton Fothergill in 3rd and Bo Browning in 10th. We've talked about them. They're roommates. They've fished in college around each other at Montevallo. They both graduated from college on Saturday of the Open. If they made the final day, they came up just short. They would have had to fish on their college graduation day, but a good mixture as well. Cody Myers, Brandon McMillan's, Josh Butler's, plenty of seasoned veterans, Dakota Ebert as well, in our top 9.
Oh, yeah.
We have had one other event that's pretty high profile. In fact, it is the biggest event in the sport of bass fishing, the 2024 Bass Pro Shops Bassmaster Classic, presented by Jockey Outdoors. And Justin Hamner showed us at the last elite event going through there that he had big things on his mind. He caught an 11-pounder there at Fork, and boy, he came ready to go here wall to wall.
Exactly, and created, fair to say, a little bit of drama the last day, only catching 15 pounds and 13 ounces, which was still a very, very solid day on Grand Lake. And really, after the day 1 weigh-in, we're able to talk to all the anglers that are leading the Bassmaster Classic. You just had that vibe after the first day of the tournament, really applying a jerkbait the entire event. Justin Hamner, a ton of confidence, and really said, I do not feel like I will run out of bass in this tournament. Backed it up.
58 pounds, 3 ounces, and we are back. Welcome back to the Bassmaster Studio, sponsored by Marathon, Ronnie Moore, Mark Zona. I'm Tommy Sanders. We're here just to visit with you about our day that was postponed, of course, on Lake Murray. We'll start the tournament tomorrow with 4 full days of fishing scheduled for them. Let's take a look at the remainder of our season here. We go to the state of Alabama next in one place we haven't been in a while, another place we've never been with the Elite Series. Wheeler Lake on the Tennessee River.
It's weird to say that Wheeler's, even though we've been there so much for the Bassmaster Elite Series throughout the years, I believe Takahiro Mori, you could talk Jeremy Starks, and several others, David Walker.
Tommy Biffle, I think,
Tommy
as well.
Biffle. That is really the X factor. A lot of the other tournaments, you know how they're going to transpire, but every time we go to Wheeler, it's almost like a collision of ledge fishing with somebody that cracks a little bit of a code up shallow. So I think that one of the entire rest of our season is the one that can throw a wrench into the spokes.
And you think about that, Tommy. Wheeler is kind of the lake on the Tennessee River that's the in-between of all the other main lakes.
Sure,
Gunnersville,
right.
Pickwick, Kentucky Lake, the water holder. So Wheeler has changed so much. A place that had a bunch of grass at one point has gone through periods with no grass. It has smallmouth capabilities as well. We could see mixed bags. But yeah, Wheeler and Smith with a week in between will be an interesting portion of our season before we head up north.
So a little bit of trivia, since Such is not with us this morning, I'll throw this in here. There was an open held last year at Wheeler, and it was a familiar name to all of us who covered the Classic. Adam Rasmussen won that open down there on Wheeler. How about that?
Yes, and I think Brandon Polinick Brandon Polinick got in the top 5 there as well. He had a chance. Sam George, another person who's local to Wheeler, was good in that one as well. We'll see the Decatur Flats shine, but also some guys that practiced there and said, the flats, it's hard to find a specific area where they were concentrated, at least last week or the week before. But when we get to June, we'll know it's going to be some spots they're grouped up.
Also in June, never been there with the Elite Series. That's going to be Smith Lake in Coleman, Alabama. Different look than Wheeler. Highlands Reservoir, clear water. It's a lot of spots. It's also a herring lake as well, right?
It is, and that's the one big difference between Murray and Smith. We'll see blueback herring twice this year. Like you said, Murray this week and Smith, but all spotted, or not all spotted bass, but spotted bass heavy at Smith, and then we know what to expect from Champlain and St. Lawrence.
Oh, absolutely.
But to end the year on the St. Lawrence where someone could win to make the Classic or fight to stay requalified, that's the big one to keep an eye on too.
The rest of the season.
It will be. It's going to come up, and by August, we'll wrap it up with the Elite Series. But we are far from wrapped up at our 5th stop of the year here, the Minn Kota Bassmaster Elite on Lake Murray.
Yes.
We will have a championship Monday. Coverage starts tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Bassmaster.com. We'll bring you morning coverage on FS1. The next 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, and we'll wrap it up with Championship Monday right here on Bassmaster.com.
Would you like to go see Rise of the Planet of the Apes with me later today? Because that's what's on my forecast.
I don't blame you there. It's supposed to be the best one of the whole franchise. That's what I hear. Okay, 11 a.m. today. I'm just told that Dave Mercer, Davey Height, getting some home cooking this week in Columbia, South Carolina. They're going to pop up at 11 a.m. with a live mix, 11 a.m. Eastern
Hopefully
time.
under shelter. With
the
thunderstorms going to be coming in around 11 a.m.
We're concerned about their safety as well as the safety of the anglers, the crews, the fans, the marshals, and everyone. That's why we're not going today, but tomorrow we have a better outlook. So we look forward to seeing you bright and early tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, right here on Bassmaster.com for day 1 of the Minn Kota Bassmaster Elite. 4 days of fishing on the schedule. We'll see you then.
Yes, sir.